Hello, everyone, and welcome to the POAP Community Call. So glad to have you here tonight, or this morning, or afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Always grateful to have you spend some time with us to talk about this thing that we call POAP. And so, we're going to have a pretty interesting call tonight, but I do want to go ahead and introduce everybody that is up here on the stage at the moment, and I'm hoping to see some other faces, hear some other voices up on stage later on. But again, that's just my hope. So at the very top, we have JENetics from POAPathon. Always great to see you.
Hello, everybody.
And we also have POAP Community Manager Fiore. Lovely to see you as well.
GM, everyone. Hey, guys.
And then, of course, you have me, Mr. Mojo. Always a pleasure to be able to spend time with y'all. And then we have iDecentralized, POAP Growth Manager. Good to see you, sir.
Ka-chow, ka-chow.
And then we have from GitPOAP and EthStaker. Hello, Nixorokish. Great to see that you're able to make it at the beginning of the call. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Superphiz from EthStaker. Hello, good sir.
Hello, glad to be here.
And of course, again, we are glad to have everybody in the audience here to listen to us speak tonight. So, we pretty much have just one giant community discussion topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. So, over the last year, we have been hanging out with y'all every single Wednesday. I mean, we started like the second week of January, and now here we are. We're 12 months later. We're in the second week of December, or the third week of December, however it lays on the calendar. And we've spent the last year just talking about what's going on in POAP, how to be a good issuer, how things are changing when it comes to distribution or applications that are being created in POAP. And it's definitely been a very interesting evolution throughout the months. But I'm going to see here. How can I continue with this? We're pretty much going to be doing a meta style call tonight, where we are going to look back at the past year of our calls, and we're going to try to, like a Christmas present, sort of wrap it up and put a bow on top as we go ahead and take a bit of a rest for the remainder of the year and take a reevaluation going into 2023. But you can go ahead, sir.
I was going to actually say, did you come up with that present analogy by looking at Nix's profile picture, or was that just organic as well, or just by chance? They both have.
So I am literally coming into tonight's call with like heart on my sleeve. Everything I'm saying is off the top of my head and organic.
Well, Nix, kudos to you. So cool. Yeah,
I would like to point out he used a colloquialism to say that everything is organic. There's humor in that, right?
100%. I only buy organic vegetables now ever since I learned about all the pesticides. So I'm gonna be all organic tonight too. But yeah, I know it's been a great year. We're kind of getting to the tail end of the year. It's December 15th. I was just talking to my girlfriend, saying how I haven't even bought presents yet. I guess depending how you look at it,
you bought plenty of presents.
There's still a lot of time, or there's no time. So,
well, with your community initiative, with the charity toy drive, you've already bought a lot of presents this year. So.
Well, I guess the POAP community.
Dude,
yeah,
we should talk about that. I didn't even think about that. That worked out really well. I haven't talked to you since then.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the support, Superphiz, and for everyone else. That rocked. $2,000 roughly raised, and I dropped a little video on my Twitter, but when the toys are dropped off on, I think, Saturday or Sunday, I'll be making sure that there's a lot of photos, and then I got to get on WeLook and drop them things.
Yeah,
What's
saw.
What's funny is the speed that things move. Like, that was 3 or 4 days ago, and it already feels like the past, and like we're already doing new things now. It just like the speed of things moving is just like insane.
I agree. And that's why I think why a retrospect is actually good on a day like today. I mean, a whole year will go by, and if we don't actually sit and look back at what we've done and maybe hopefully we have a POAP collection to help us get there, it's easy to just forget about all these life moments.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I saw your tweet with that big receipt, but Fio, she shared it for us, so thanks for providing what I was gonna talk about. But yeah, I had looked at like the big giant receipt and the panning of the camera to all of the toys that are going to be provided for the children that are going to receive them, and I was like, wow, like there was something really great done with these POAPs, and seeing it just come to fruition. It's really neat, and you're exactly right, Anthony, how, there's so many things that happen that being able to actually take a look back and sort of reminisce on them or kind of just collect our thoughts on them and debrief on them is important.
Heck yeah, that's why we all love POAP. Helps us remember things.
Nix, you wanted to say something real quick?
No, I switched to my computer, so it's
Oh,
my mic on.
let's go.
Oh, she switched to her computer. Excellent. But all right, so there's a few topics of discussion that we have. I don't know exactly what order that we're going to talk about them in, but I guess one of the things that I do want to talk about is let's sort of go all the way back to the beginning. And Superphiz, I think I want you to start because you're kind of the driving force to this thing really beginning. I sort of want to talk about the original purpose of what this call was even supposed to be, and I think you're the best person to do that. So please, take it away. Or not. Well, I guess I could give it a shot.
No, I was muted. I'm sorry. I've been rambling for the past 30 minutes, but I was muted. So the very original purpose, as we first described this call, was the POAP curation community call, and the idea was, people have POAPs, and for whatever reason they don't meet POAP's high standard of production. Like POAP as a company wants to produce quality POAPs, and so they need the community who wants to develop these POAPs to have a good idea what they should look like. So, when we first started this call, the focus was on curation. It was on what should POAPs look like what text should be on them, what's the standard for the images. And so I think, the big goal was to focus on design and quality. And as we moved through it, I really felt like, while we do have a focus on curation quality, it felt more like a community call than a curation call. Just by the way it was evolving. And so I guess we eventually dropped the POAP curation community call and just became the POAP community call. And with that, we tried to invite more guests and kind of just like reflect the spirit of POAP and not just curating POAP. And that's kind of like, I know it's been a year, but that's the evolution that brought us to where we are now.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, of everybody that is up here, you and me are the two that have were the OG of OG and have been doing this the entire time. And there he goes. Anyway, I'm just going to sort of continue on that. From my perspective, yeah, it is sort of interesting to see the evolution because we came up here in our very first call, or the first few calls. It was like Superphiz, it was me, it was Colfax from GitPOAP, it was Tap from POAPathon, and it was DeFi Dude. And as Superphiz said, our focus was primarily on how to be a good issuer and how to provide, like valuable POAPs to the community, and how to, pardon me, and how to be like good stewards of the protocol and things like that. And I remember we would have our first hour would be talking about that, and then we would have a second hour that was dedicated to let's bring people up on stage and try to talk them through and troubleshoot them through some issues or some problems that they were having with trying to be a good POAP issuer. And I remember we had like a Slido where people could post questions. But as things evolved and the needs of the community changed, so did we. And we started talking more about like the news going on in POAP, or how people were using POAPs, like the utility of them, or maybe going more in depth with some sort of like the concepts and ideas of what POAPs can be and things like that. So it has been sort of an interesting shift and an interesting change with how the content is done on this call and what we bring forth with our content.
It's wild because POAP is one of the only things in the ecosystem that has so much going on all sides, like community, business. It seems to pop up everywhere that has anything to do with crypto. And so it's like nice to have one cohesive call where we get to talk about sort of a lot of it.
Yeah, there really is so much that encapsulates this community, because when you think about POAP, there's so many angles that you're able to take with things to talk about. Or I don't know if angles is the right word, but there's just there's so much substance there. You can talk about like what POAP Inc. is doing. You can talk about what people are doing on the application layer. You can talk about the utility of POAPs. You can talk about, what POAPs mean to identity and stuff like that. Like, there's just so much meat on the bone there that every single week, a little bit look behind the scenes, we have a bit of like a content meeting every Tuesday, just to sort of gauge, okay, what are the kind of things that we want to discuss on the call tomorrow? And I feel like we always come in and we have something to say. Oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. And we're able just to put it into a Google Doc, and there we go. We have a flow, and there we are. But something else kind of too, I'm trying to think. Jen, would you be the next person to start coming on these calls? Because Tap decided that he was gonna tap out from Web3, and he made the decision that he wanted to be replaced by someone, and he pretty much chose you.
Yeah. Also, with that, we can't talk about a year of POAP without talking about Tap.
Oh yeah. Do you have things to say about him before we kind of get into Jim?
Me?
Into Jen?
Yeah. I mean, for those people who don't know, Tap was a guy who showed up. Probably, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he was here from about September of 2021 to like May of 2022. And that's probably, a bad window, but in 6 months, like, he developed this platform called POAPathon, and he just was like one of the most prolific and magnetic people in the entire ecosystem. Like, just brought his huge personality and welcomed so many people and built this huge POAPathon platform. And then he was just kind of like, hey, I'm done with this. I need to move on. And so he left. And it was just like this really weird and sad thing that he just felt like it wasn't right for him anymore. And he went back to, I guess what I would call like a Web 2 kind of job. And he I think he probably left the biggest impact on POAP for someone who wasn't directly affiliated with POAP in the past year. I don't know, but Jen knows much more about this than I do. That's just me looking as an outsider. So I'd love to hear what Jen has to say about it.
Tap was the first person who gave me a large chance within the Web3 space. He recognized that I had a talent for hosting calls, both on camera and over voice, like we're doing now. And he started inviting me to POAPathon to be a show host. And then, he just said, hey, would you join us on the POAP Community Call? And I joined you guys like unofficially a couple of times before I got moved over officially, and it just happened organically. Tap is probably the person that has left the biggest impact on me in Web3. And it was very difficult when he left for me. It felt like a mentor was just gone.
Speaking of mentors, I have never been in any industry, and I think I now have been in 3 industries in my careers, where mentorship is so rampant. I don't know a better word than rampant. People are so passionate in this industry that like mentorship just comes out of people who want to help people get into this industry, and that is, I think, one of the best strengths I have seen about crypto.
Yeah, I definitely think that like that mentors are important. And whenever I was first getting into this space, had the absolute luck, to know not only Superphiz, but Superphiz was able to identify a great mentor for me, that being Colfax, who was also on this call, and of course is co-founder of GitPOAP and Nix. You probably have a whole lot that you can say on Colfax too, but when it comes to his time on here, now he was instrumental in helping me sort of understand some of the more deeper concepts of like what POAPs can be and what they can be used for. Because whenever I first got in, Superphiz, he asked me to be part of the call, and I was still sort of like rocky on what POAPs even were, because I was still very new to the space. And as I was saying, Colfax was one of those mentor type people who not only was able to help me get through my data analysis boot camp, but he was also able to explain things like POAPs to me. So it was sort of unfortunate to see him have to leave this call as well. But hey, he found a good person to take his place, and that was you, Nix. I've appreciated both you and Jen's contributions to this call like so much. In fact, like everybody that's see, here I am, how I said I'm gonna wear my heart on my sleeve for this call. Like like I've greatly appreciated like all the contributions that people have made to this call, whether it be creating content, hosting the call, helping fill in the blanks for things that I'm unable to do, people who chat in the community calls channel, people who throw ideas to us for how we can do better, people who have come on to be a guest on this call. Like, it's all been really meaningful to me, but I don't know if I'm getting too much in the weeds and too much off topic on like the history bit of this call. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody needs to get us back on the rails here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're on the right track, right? It's the end of the year, celebrating everything that happened during the year, and Christmas is coming up, and our holidays, we're gonna have gifts, and then we're gonna have a new year, and then a whole new cycle starts again. I think another great thing about the POAP community call is all the guests that we have on all the time. I just feel like POAP is so expansive and people are building and tinkering in different areas and driving value in different ways, whether they're an issuer, whether they're a builder, and even collectors kind of in their own way are a necessary input. And so, yeah, I've liked the guests that we've had on this year. I don't know which one stood out the most. I did really like hanging out with the Grid Plus team last week, or call it a couple
It was
weeks
like
ago.
2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
2 weeks ago. That was just like a lot of good camaraderie, and even though it was like a little technical on the private key management side of things, it was just good. And so I look forward to us having more cool guests and hanging out with more cool people. And yeah, definitely. And I was a late comer to this call, so
Yeah.
I really miss those times with Prof. Werder and remind me of that guy's name. Somebody has to
From
remember
where?
what I'm thinking.
Was it Malachi or something like
Malachi
that?
and Dr. Malachi, yeah. Those were really interesting times because they had such a different take on it. Like Dr. Malachi was always doing like really weird things with POAP that weren't always like POAP style, but they were still definitely like interesting and cutting edge. And Prof. Werder always had like this just a really unique perspective on like the purpose behind POAP and like how we can bring it forward. So I really enjoyed their company. It was really just great for me to have them around, to have those the interesting ideas that they brought to the call.
Yeah, they were on when I first joined, and that was definitely like how I first started getting acquainted with the POAP Community Call. Because I've collected POAPs off and on since whatever 2019 when I got my first one, particularly just offhand. Like I would just get them at random events, and I wasn't deeply imbued into this like POAP culture, what we have here, which is like a great culture. But it's been interesting to see the evolution this year for sure, and I do think those two characters were very interesting, and those were who I saw when I first joined a lot of the time, aside from others who were here. But yeah, crazy year.
Yeah, like when I think about like fun guests that we had on, I think about the one call that me and Superphiz hosted where we pretty much just brought on a whole bunch of different people from the community. Like we had Unvetica up here, we had Rudy from Wholesome Crypto Podcast up here. Who else was up here? I think we had like Henny Abu up here as well, talking about like Project Sunshine and stuff. And some other fun calls with guests, like we had like Nick.eth from ENS, and we had the IYK team up here one week. We had like Raz from Guild up here. We had Austin from Rev up here. Like,
are you reading notes or did you just remember all this?
No, I'm like I said, Fizz, I'm literally just
impressed.
Heart on my sleeve, all organically, thoughts in the moment. Like
I remember these things as you say them, but I could never like just pull that out of my butt. So that's impressive.
That's why we need POAPs. I wouldn't remember this stuff. Good job, Mojo.
Well, I appreciate the compliments on my what can be at times shaky memory. Or even having like Slowbo.eth up here to talk about Nifty Chat and stuff like that. Like being able to form connections with people in a way that for me personally, I may not be able to normally do. Kind of like being able to use the POAP Community Call as a method to be able to grow closer to people who are building in the Web3 space, who are using POAPs in ways that really shine them in a bright light, and people who just care about the well-being of this protocol. It's been really meaningful to me, and it's really allowed me to sort of grow as an individual, and just meet new people that I think I would never necessarily have a chance to even conversate with. Or even call a peer if it wasn't for this medium on here.
Yeah, and another thing that has been a real evolution too is the different distribution methods for distributing POAPs. I mean, geez, it's crazy. We've tried so many different ways. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At all times, you need to have kind of the issuer guidelines in mind. You want to protect the protocol, you want to respect it, and you want to make sure there's a clean distribution. And it can be tough in environments where there's like Sybil attackers or Sybil farms. And I think you guys or we have done a really good job of like kind of experimenting and finding different ways, and that's been fun.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like throwing darts on the dartboard and seeing what's the bullseye and what totally missed the mark. Like, for example, last week, the way that we did it kind of threw the dart and sort of hit the wall instead of the dartboard, and unfortunately had a bit of a mishap where the style that we were going for was very farmable. But just kind of figuring out, okay, like with degen, for example, that was kind of even a thing about degen. It was great having like a John Valjean and Slinky Potato come up to talk to us about how things like degen even work. Those were meaningful interactions as well, and sort of understanding where we were at in POAP distribution virtually at the time, and how we can sort of gather these thoughts and ideas and get an understanding of the thought process of how they're trying to build these tools. And to kind of get back to degen, like that was how we were originally using it, because at the time that's what was available to actually have an at scale method to have a virtual POAP distribution. And for the time it worked. There were some flaws with it, like, you could game it, or if you lost connection to the Discord stage, then your timer would reset and things like that, and it was sort of, you would have to, like, run commands in the Discord chat in order for it to work, and then that sort of transformed into going on Guild, where, like, yes, you need the guild bot and everything, but you actually run it from, like, its own website, and you can actually, like, send in your POAP petition with guild, and you're able to monetize your POAPs with it. For a while there, they sort of had that degen style participation in it with a bit of improvements. We even experimented using things like Rev, where it's kind of like you use secret word or a secret phrase, and you have to have like a proof of like humanness or humanity, whatever, things like Gitcoin passport in order to like validate that you're a human and things like that. And it's just so interesting to see these tools pop up, how they've changed and iterated on themselves, and how we've been able to use them. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of zip my lips because I've been sort of speaking for 5 minutes straight now. So, any other thoughts on stuff like that from someone else, please?
I guess it speaks to the ever evolving thing that is POAP and the POAP ecosystem. Just like, degen was like the literal staple, and it was like the only thing that you guys used for a while. I guess there was the old POAP Discord bot as well, but I mean, degen was a literal staple, right? I mean, everyone was running degen. And then, they had some changes internally, and then Guild came around, and now Guild is seemingly a staple for many, many, many communities. And now I kind of feel like we have Rev, who's also building in this area. And I just imagine there's more and more teams who are building, and it's just going to keep innovating and to go through these cycles. And it's just exciting.
That's actually a topic that's interesting for me, is the evolution of tools. Because, my favorite tool at the moment is Mentor's POAP Checkout. And we didn't have anything like that. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of this year, we didn't even have like a community ethos around the idea of paying for a POAP. Like,
Isn't
as a
that
matter of fact, like
interesting?
at the beginning of the year, I was really against it. I was like, POAPs are for memories. Money shouldn't be involved. And it took me like really like, I would say, a month of just kind of thinking about it to really come around to the idea that while POAPs are memories, that doesn't mean that they cannot in some ways involve money, and that recognition has allowed us and will allow us to fund healthy projects moving forward, which I don't know, where many people in the community stand, but coming around to that was really a big shift for me.
I remember explicitly you mentioning that, and I think we've had offline calls as well as online calls. Well, excuse me, like in public as well as private, and yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had different feelings about that as well, and like I guess where I like sit right now is that I genuinely believe these POAPs are like a new standard for like collectibles, like and it's the digital collectible standard. And I am obsessed or was obsessed with collecting things when I was younger, and I still do. I collect a lot of crypto and Ethereum memorabilia. I need to get my hands on some Unisocks, and I hope one day to even spin up like a small um, museum of sorts, like a physical museum people can go to. And I think POAPs they do carry a lot of value, and so I feel almost happy when I pay for some of them, and I feel like it makes me think it's worth more, which is weird. It makes me appreciate it more. And I don't know kind of the dynamics there, but yeah, I guess and checkout is a great tool. So yeah, it's just sort of like a new era we're dawning upon with POAPs that can be paid for and that kind of changes the game a little bit.
I have to bring up Pogs because when I first learned about POAP, that was kind of my thought. It was Pogs. But when I was younger, I would collect Pogs, and the trend had sort of passed from the 90s. And so you had like a lot of people who would give out Pogs for free. Like my older sisters would give me Pogs, but the Pogs I cared about were the ones that I earned. And so like my sister would give me like a giant Ziploc bag of Pogs, but like I would keep them separate from the ones that I actually earned. And that's what I feel like when I give money for a POAP that ends up going to some valuable project, I value that POAP so much more than one that was just given to me.
Theo, you had a few things to say?
Yeah, I was thinking on the time that Patricia came to the community call, and we had a conversation about that, about the POAP economics, and if issuers should pay for the drops, if collectors should pay for it, and then we open a thread on Discourse, and there are some different and interesting ideas around that. I will share the link just in case anyone would like to drop their opinion about the topic. But it was pretty interesting ideas around that.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up, Theo, because I actually kind of forgot that we did that. And it really is an evolution because that only a couple months ago. And when thinking about POAP economics, it was really like, should issuers pay for POAPs? And I even wondered myself, and it was like, you could have kind of a nuanced discussion or debate around it. And now I feel like I've came to certain conclusions in my mind, and I'm happy that I have that POAP economics POAP because it'll be interesting for me to look back on that in 1 year, 5 year, 10 years when the economics continue to change. And I'm like, hey man, we're thinking about that stuff in the early days and it was fun.
Yeah, in terms of that moment specifically on YouTube, that is the most viewed moment from the community call. So kind of interesting. Yeah. Like Patricio coming on the stage and talking about like the economics that are behind POAPs is like the number one moment in terms of viewership from the community. So like that's sort of interesting how people do think that the conversation around like the monetization or like the economics around how POAPs are in terms of issuers, in terms of collectors, even now, like it's an ongoing conversation. So it's just very interesting to see that continue on.
Okay, I never thought about the metrics of the calls. Like, I guess you look at those on YouTube.
I mean, not particularly. I just like, I mean, I see them or like maybe every now and then I'll take a look at them because I do have access to them. But I used
It
to
had never crossed my mind.
Yeah, like I used to look at like how many people are actually claiming the POAP, and I would sort of think, okay, how many of these were farmed? Is there something that we can do to make it so like there's no like farmers actually claiming this? Like or I should say, how can we have numbers that are reflective of our actual audience? Was something that I would sit here and think about for quite a while before tools like Guild and Rev actually had prominence in the community. You wanted to say something else, Superphiz?
No, I was just, yeah, I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
enjoying the conversation.
All right, just making sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Before we move on to that topic, and because Theo brought it up and it's in the chat, I just shared the 30 people who have that POAP, and there were some other discourse POAPs as well. Hold on to those because we'll probably be making some changes to the Discord channel structure, just maybe how the channels are organized and stuff. And I think we're gonna have potentially role gated channels eventually, and maybe discourse contributors would get a special role potentially. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Speaking of role gated channels, makes me think of Nifty Chat and Slowbo, like his whole platform, like being gateable and built around the whole idea of like NFT and POAP access, which is just a really great idea.
Totally. And you know, just to be selfish here, like with the toy drive, like if it was a bigger collector base, or if we were going to meet up physically or something, or do some kind of meetup for some kind of nonprofit, if it was at a larger scale, I would totally use like a Nifty Chat, because like how cool is it to have all your donors get to be in a private chat? Or I mean, there's no real reason in this context, but I do see it's just such a great tool. I mean, I'm excited for the POAP tooling landscape or app layer, whatever we were going to call it, to just continue to mature. And I feel like right, still early adopters paradise. Yeah.
You know, Jen, I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts, your belief of you know, a moment that could be highlighted from this call from your time on it.
Man, we've talked about so many that I was going to bring up about how when I first came on, I was able to connect you guys with the devs from DGen and get them on the show, because I had worked with them at Bankless DAO, and working with, you know, then Guild and Rev that spun up very quickly after DGen was sunset. And you know, Patricio being on the show, I have a screenshot of, you know, me on stage with him on stage as well, because that was like a big moment for me. And all of those times in the community chat where, like, I know when we started talking about charging for POAPs, people were scared that we were going to make it unaffordable, and make it something that was something that only, you know, the elite could afford. And I wanted everyone to know that no, we're only going to charge $1 per POAP, and you don't have to buy it. So those were all the things that I think about when I think about time on the show and the things that we've done.
Yeah, you know, like your contribution to being able to you know, bring on valuable guests, being able to provide valuable insight, especially to things like the NFT communities, like the artists in the NFT communities. Like I've always seen you as like somebody who's able to bring very valuable discourse with that, because you know, from my perspective, like when it comes to like art, especially in NFTs, like I don't really have the best connection to that. And so, you know, you being able to be the person who is like our sort of bridge or connection to that community, and also to like I had said initially, to sort of bring on people who are able to give us valuable conversation and discourse about the things that we use. It's oh goodness, it's just been so great. Thanks, Jen, for your contributions to us.
Thank you. I've really been honored.
And Nix, I don't think you've explicitly told us a moment as well, so I think I want to give you the floor for a few minutes here to talk about your highlight.
Honestly, my memory is like shit. I'm the opposite of you. My memory is terrible. And
Oh no, Nix, I'm not able to hear you,
other people
unfortunately.
hear me.
No, me neither.
Ah,
To be fair, I haven't heard you in like the past 6 years. So
I was gonna say, I think I guess you can't hear right now, but it makes a lot of sense that, at the end of the year, the wrap up. Nix, I was just gonna say, if you can hear me, it makes sense at the end of the year, the wrap up, it would only work if you did have a broken headset. I mean, let's be honest here.
my
That's
favorite thing
kind of
is
the
she thinks
main-
that I've been trolling her since the beginning, and I'm like, really, like, I may have trolled some people at some point in the past and some misunderstanding, but I have never been able to hear anything she says.
the problem is you do troll me sometimes.
There we go. That's a
It's
bit better.
only by misunderstanding.
So what I was going to say is, Mojo, I don't have the memory that you do, which is very impeccable, and I can't always remember all the guests. But I will say this call has been a very consistent, like, good vibes thing for me, and I look forward to Wednesday nights. And I like never miss this if I'm too busy or if I'm stressed out, because this is a nice thing to be in, and it does feel like hanging out with friends. And I like being um, sort of being pushed to stay in touch with the POAP ecosystem, like going through that POAP newsletter, ghost.poap, and knowing like what POAP's trajectory is, and seeing how its business plan has like sort of developed over the last year has been really interesting. And I think I came in like halfway through the year, and I was very stoked to be invited to co-host on this call, and it's been a lot of fun for me to stay in touch with the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's very well said, because I also share a lot of those sentiments as well, where every Wednesday is something that I always look forward to. Even our Tuesday planning calls, I always look forward to it, because it meant I got to go into a just a call with people that I consider my friends, my peers, and just sort of talk about, like, what's the content that we're going to have, like what are we bringing to the table this week. And it was always really interesting just to kind of go through every person that provides content for this call, just one by one, and like seeing what they wanted to talk about. And it was kind of insightful as to like what they've been doing throughout the week, or things that have been concerning them, or things that were on their mind. And it's just
Yeah.
like an interesting way to sort of learn more about each other.
Yeah, and in terms of like providing value, I feel like the people in this ecosystem who are building or guiding or influencing anything are so much more valuable when they do keep in touch with the community, because a lot of the times people build and they become detached from their community, and they just, even though they're building very effective things, it might not be towards the direction that the community wants to see it in. And that is, I feel like in crypto, that is one of the most important things, is like having community support. And so it's nice to hear what works for the community, what doesn't work for the community. It's nice that we've been able to pioneer all of the different POAP distribution methods, because people come to me now and they're like, "Okay, I'm going to do a POAP drop. What's the best method?" And if we hadn't pioneered all those other ones, I couldn't give them pros and cons of the different tools that are out there.
Yeah, like something like this really allows us to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on and what's available and how things are changing. And it just kind of keeps us honest with keeping up with everything, because we sort of feel that responsibility, or like the pressure of responsibility to make sure that we're doing those things, because we have to present our thoughts and ideas on what those things are in that moment. So yeah, I'm totally right there with you on that.
And what's really interesting off of that is like it technically makes the people on this stage and the people who acutely listen every week, they are the most up to date on POAP out of anyone in the whole world. And it's like this little small, culture we have within, it's a sub community within the macro POAP community. And it's just interesting, like, you guys are always so up to date on all of the news. And then, as Nick's mentioned, is like you're the most up to date in the whole world on the best distribution tooling for at least digital audio events. Um, and I know we haven't tested out a lot of these other integrations yet, these more cutting edge tools that aren't just distribution, but are I guess the utility side. And I look forward to testing and playing with those because kind of say like if we're not going to do it as the core community, how can we expect your new random issuer to use it? And that's just been fun.
Agreed. And especially because we have the bandwidth on these calls to accept criticism about if people didn't like a POAP drop. Whereas like something like the merge call, nobody wants to hear a bunch of people complain about like this was hard, or I didn't get my POAP, or I couldn't figure out this step, because that's not what the call is about. And so those calls need to have like a well fleshed out method, where this one needs to be or is like a good place for testing.
Completely agree.
Yeah, all right. So like we're already we're 47 minutes in now. There's another bullet point that I kind of want to talk about on this too. So we are going to be taking off for the rest of the year. There's going to be a little bit of reevaluating going into 2023. And so one of the things that we have on here is like, what would we like to see in a next iteration of a call like this? And I don't necessarily want to be the lead on this one. To be honest, I haven't really thought about it like that much. No, I don't even know who would be the best person to start. So I guess whoever wants to jump in first, maybe that's Anthony, since you unmuted.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm very interested in the conversation with the community and like these core power users and the people who are core up to date on the news. For me, the coolest thing would be to expand outside of our almost private little Discord where we're kind of just like hanging out here, and not a lot of people know that the POAP community call exists. And like every week, you guys are talking about the most cutting edge news for one of the coolest cutting edge protocols in all of Web3. Like, think about that. And like, I wish this was like played on speakers. I mean, it's so funny. Every time I go to like Mexico, I go over here for a couple weeks, and people drive around in these cars or trucks outside with big speakers that blast whatever their advertisements are. It's like free advertising. And it's just like a joke. Like, I wish people could like hear the POAP community call and all the amazing things you talk about. And we're kind of just hanging out in this Discord, and it's a little more intimate, but it'd be interesting to see that scale to a different type of channel that is just, I don't know, like, I don't know what other bets there are. A lot of people love Twitter Spaces. A lot of people love webinars. A lot of people love Discord calls. I'm personally agnostic, but it's just different, interesting to experiment in different ways.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up kind of a vision like that. I feel like one of the funnest times that I had participating in this call was when we were at ETH Denver this year, and like we were all at the EthStaker house, and like we were all together in person, and we had moments like Woe or Wizard of Hex. Like he had a moment with Superphiz in in a bathtub, but like like we were all together, and like we were all kind of able to like see each other. And so like one of the things that I think in a perfect world, there is some sort of like POAP community call, if you will, where like we're all in the same room. I guess you kind of see it with like some of these podcasts where like they have a guest actually come into a studio and they're having face-to-face conversations with each other. Or even like you see some where they have like a big group of maybe like 10 people and they're all around the table and everyone gets a microphone, or they like share a microphone between each other, a few microphones, and they all just kind of, like I said, have face-to-face conversation, kind of play off of each other. Things that are going on in the studio are also like incorporated, or you can like showcase things in real life, or having something where you can show like the things that people are building. One of the issues that we have being a Discord audio call is that when we have a guest come on, we can't necessarily showcase what they're talking about. For example, if we have a guild or a rev on here, and we're talking about like user experience or user interface, having somebody be able to like actually screen share or pull up a demonstration or show a video of a demonstration, and then we can talk about that, is just like a different approach or a different method to be able to form conversation. Anyone else with some thoughts on that? Nix?
Well, I'm riffing off of what Anthony's talking about in the chat. I think it would be cool for all toy drive holders.
You cut out there a little bit for me. I heard all toy drive holders blank.
All toy drive holders who hold community call POAPs.
Oh, wow. So it's like a 2-layer requirement?
Yeah, for all the community call. Basically, it's like anybody donated who's not a farmer.
Totally. And you actually and again, it's totally part of the story. We couldn't hear you again. It's full circle. But I think you said you hold one of the community call POAPs and you hold the toy drive. That's what gives you access.
Yes.
Awesome. I love it. Well, let's get it done. I'm gonna add it to my task list. I guess the question is, what are we gonna raffle off? But maybe we handle that just in the chats, and I don't need to absorb everyone's time here with that.
We raffle off 1 hour of Zoom time with Superphiz.
That's a great prize right there. He's gonna go into that call fresh from a jog outside. He's probably gonna be honking some loogies into a spit jar.
Oh my gosh, we never made that POAP.
I deeply appreciate that you made that a part of this call. That's really meaningful to me.
Are you willing to talk about that, Superphiz?
Mojo, I really want to clip that, make it forever like an audio meme. I want that meme.
Yeah, I really do want that in my collection of POAP forever. Again, just because the way I personally think about POAP is like I will be sitting on my couch when I'm 50 and I want these memories, and I'm so sorry, but I do want that one.
You know what's going to happen is Jeremiah is going to make that part of his soundboard, and then it's going to be a part of some call, and then like when I'm dead in like 12 years, that's the only thing people will remember of me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's true on any degree, but if it was built into a scalable meme, that soundbite, that would be awesome.
You think you're gonna die at 85, Superphiz?
I'm just saying, like, actuarially speaking, it's possible.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know how much I want to actually elaborate on what we're talking about. Maybe we got to keep that as just an inside joke. But yeah, there's definitely plenty of interesting behind the scenes moments that we could talk about. But yeah, I don't know how much we want to sort of share with that.
I just wound up with this really great thing. It's totally a segue, but stakefromhome.gallery. Someone just set up a IPFS gallery of all of the Stake from Home nodes, and it is the most incredible thing ever. So y'all should check out stakefromhome.gallery.
That is such quick work.
There's absolutely no POAP involved there.
Great job. I saw your tweet. I'm glad someone moved fast. I mean, that's just the power of the Ethereum community. It's crazy.
Yeah, but all right. So, I mean, we got like 5 minutes left. I think I just kind of want to open it up to some final words, final thoughts. Maybe, you know, sort of talking about what the call means to us. Maybe we want to kind of do that last part, going top to bottom. I'm not really sure. But, yeah, you know, I think that's kind of a good idea. Maybe, Jen, if you want to sort of... I know it's kind of a lot of pressure, but maybe sort of start off with just sort of expressing, you know, what this call has meant to you since you've been on here.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah. And a Merry Christmas. And Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, so for me, this call has been the coolest job I've had in Web3 so far. I've kind of wandered around the ecosystem and found my home with POAPathon and POAP, and it's felt like the biggest, most legitimate thing I'm doing right now, because it's not just, you know, some rug pull NFT collection or working for somebody else's dream that I don't believe in. It's the power of POAP and the changes that we can make with POAP, either through identity in Web3 or showing where we've been IRL through your digital wallet, or all of the different community calls that you've attended and where you end up wandering around in the Web3 space. POAP is so unique in this environment, and it has been super cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, I definitely relate to everything that you've said. Theo, I'm kind of interested in you know, what you have to say. You know, you've been a little bit of a you know, late introduction to what we do here, but still interested in what you have to say.
For me, the community call was a place has been this year, a place where we can express or we can talk or discuss with the community all the ideas we have internally at POAP. Like, we discuss all the time these topics, like the POAP business, POAP curation, what to or what's the best way to distribute POAPs. So for me, it's been great to discuss these topics with the community, to have the community feedback, whether it's on the chat or on Discourse. So for me, it was great to be closer to the community and to you guys, which you're all great, and I'm so glad that I joined in the last community calls. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me being here and being part of this amazing community.
Yeah, I know from my perspective, I'm definitely grateful that you were able to bring us like insight about what's happening within POAP, or being able to share like community initiatives with us, or help give us ideas about how we can be more in tune with the community that we've formed here. You know, like, it's just been so valuable to us, and you know, I do thank you so much for like actually wanting to be a part of what we're doing here.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go next since I'm third on the list, and oh man, what is there to say? Oh goodness, as I said to sort of start the call, I'm sort of just going, you know, hard on my sleeve and off the top of my head, but I mean, really, this call has meant so much to me as a person who really took full emergence into this Web3 ecosystem at the beginning of this year, and you know, corresponding with that, this call beginning, this was kind of EthStaker was like basically the door for me to enter, and then the community call was like the desk that I got to sit at. It was an avenue for me to build skills that I didn't know I would even have a chance to build. Be able to do things like express myself, do things like be able to help lead a community and help lead a content discussion, and just do something that I truly feel like is meaningful to not only myself, but to the people that I work with, to the people who attend. Uh, my biggest goal was to be sort of this navigator of thoughts and ideas, and allow people to uh, express themselves, to be able to share what they have to say, to be able to showcase and spotlight what they're able to do. And I just hope that I've been able to achieve that this past year, because things like that, yeah, I'm getting like, okay, I don't know if I need to go any deeper than that, but like when it comes to just who we are as people, I just want us to be the best that we can be, and I want to be able to showcase that. So, super thankful to POAP for allowing us to actually host our content on their platform. I'm thankful to Superphiz for getting all of this rolling and for choosing me to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm excited for what the future has to bring with everything that's going to be part of this, and what's going to happen in the future. All right, well, that's my trying to hold back tears spiel.
Bro, I've been weeping, like literally weeping this entire call. So
It has been a great one. Like, I've really enjoyed the year. Like, ups and downs, but like I really feel like we provided solid growth, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It has been a great year of hanging out with you all.
Yeah, I do want to hear sort of the remaining three. Anthony, I kind of want to hear what you have to say about what this call means to you.
Yeah, I think that the you guys are pioneers of the early POAP community, and the when we if we zoom forward 50 years, 100 years in the future, I think there's going to be a lot more POAP community calls. This is number 49, and number 1 through 49. And those POAPs are going to be really something special. And I think that, what's really coming to mind is kind of like, you know, the new year, right? We're all going to take some time off. We're kind of looking at 2023, and we want to be like, come into that year and drive value where we can, and live the best lives we can while we have this limited time on earth. And what just keeps popping up to me is like, just like being anti-fragile. I wrote a piece on Ethereum being an anti-fragile hydra many years ago, and how when something bad happens to Ethereum, it's like a hydra which is a mythical creature. One head gets cut off, but 3 heads come back. And I think Ethereum is anti-fragile. I think POAP is anti-fragile. I think the POAP community call is also anti-fragile. And sometimes anti-fragility is only seen over longer periods of time, and might not be seen over the course of minutes, days, or weeks, but maybe over the course of months or years. And so, we're here experimenting. The new year again is coming up. I'm excited to take rest. I just told Isabel today how the week off, the week and a half off I'm having, starting early next week to the new year, is my first real week and a half off that I'm not going to be doing work in really since high school. So I don't know what that is, like more than 10 years, because I'm old now. And I think, yeah, happy new year, y'all. Excited for the future. I'm excited for when POAP Community Call number 50 POAP comes around, and it's not going to be in 2022. I'm going to speculate it is in 2023, and TBD on timing.
Well said. Nix, you're up. The floor is yours, my lady.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just grateful to have been part of this 2022. And I think that once the next bull market happens, anybody who was here, anybody who collected these POAPs will be OG, because just like we look at people from 2020 now as OG, or 2018 as OG, there's going to be another bull market. There's going to be another bear market. And I am super glad for people who participated, collected their collectibles from this time period, and I look forward to looking back at this nostalgically.
Yeah, I think
I'm like really getting excited about these 49 POAPs from the community call, just because like, you know, something that's valuable about POAPs in digital collectibles is the limited supply. And you really just never know in life how many moments you're going to have, how many, you know, times you're going to see your family again, how many times, you know, more calls you're going to have together in a certain format. Again, I'm very confident we're going to have more POAP community calls, but I'm really excited about these first 49.
yeah, and to sort of iterate on what Nick said, you know, people who have these 1 through 49 POAPs, it's you know, they're going to be able to say that they're veterans of this space and that they were here from the very beginning, from the first year of doing something like this. So I think that was well said. But you know, to end it off, last but not least, Superphiz, I would love to hear what you have to say about what this call means to you.
I mean, I don't. You know, I enjoy quality time with my friends. I enjoy talking about POAP. I love the opportunity to talk about things that excite me and to just spend quality time. So, you know, it's been a great year, and I look forward to hanging out with everyone else in the future. It's a great thing.
Yep, I agree with you on that. But you know, we are coming to an end on our time with everyone this week. So
And now for the fun,
yep,
distributing the POAP.
and now for the moment of truth. So here in the
The POAP for this call?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
here on the POAP community call, for the last while, we have been using the guild method of distribution. And if you have not already, you can go over to the Join Guild channel, and you will be able to click on that button that says Join Guild if you have not already, and get the guild door role, and that will allow you access to be able to claim tonight's POAP. So I'm going to go ahead and send that claim embed to the proper channel. Again, that's Join Guild. And all right, I have clicked the button to do that. So it is the way that we normally do it. You will contribute either about $1 worth of ETH on mainnet, or if you don't want to use mainnet, you can switch over to Polygon. You can contribute around $1 worth of Matic, or 1 USDC, or 1 DAI. And yeah, I've definitely enjoyed being able to talk to everyone, not only tonight, but throughout this whole 2022 about POAP and what they are and what they mean and how to be a great issuer, and talking about the news that's going on and keeping up to date with distribution methods, and talking to people about what they're building in this ecosystem and how they want to apply POAPs and how they want to add utility to them. I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know, it's been a highly valuable experience, one that you know, I'm looking forward to seeing the continuation of. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than thank you to everybody that has participated with us and has taken time out of your day to be able to share this experience with us.
Well, ho ho ho! Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Uh, love you all, and I know we'll all be seeing each other around in this metaverse, baby.
We should clarify there will not be community calls I don't think the next 2 weeks. So look out for something in January.
Yep.
And we probably should have clarified that at some point during the call, but you won't hear from a POAP call the next 2 weeks. I think that's right. Is that right, Anthony?
Yeah, if you're a listener and you're actively listening and you didn't pick up on the nuances of today's call, you will not be seeing us until after the new year, most definitely. This was an amazing episode. This was a heartfelt episode. Love this POAP. Looking forward to the 50th one. It will be in 2023. I'll just say that.
Right. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Yep. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for stopping
Thank you,
by with
guys.
us throughout the year. Appreciate all you.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Felices fiestas. Merry Christmas.